The Mandalorian, created by Jon Favreau, follows a bounty hunter known as the Mandalorian. This bounty hunter is just trying to get by and survive after the fall of the Empire, but he eventually comes into contact with a high-value asset that he begins to protect. However, this asset is indeed high value and has many across the galaxy looking for it, making the Mandalorian himself a major target. Alright, so I've been wanting to review the Mandalorian for quite a while now, but I figured it made more sense to wait until the first season was over and then review the season in its totality. I think most are aware by now just how big the show has become, particularly due to a certain character that I'm going to mention a few times in this review, so I'm not going to discuss specific spoilers, but I am going to talk about the show in a general fashion that will require me to at least talk about some general points in the story. So if you're not looking for any spoilers whatsoever, maybe come back and watch this video after you've watched the first season so I don't spoil anything for you and feel bad about it. With that said, if you're still here, I should let you know that I really loved season 1 of The Mandalorian. I came into it with high expectations and I left satisfied. I actually found that I liked the weekly release of episodes because it did give me something to look forward to at the end of each work week. I come home on a Friday night after work and I get to watch an awesome episode of The Mandalorian. Sometimes it would even drop on a Wednesday, which you guys know, which was also cool too. But I found this show to be an awesome look at the Star Wars universe and something that we haven't seen anything like before. Because this show is very much a space western, which you've probably heard a lot by now, but it is true. I mean, you have a lone gunslinger with questionable morals navigating his way through a harsh terrain full of threats everywhere he turns. But as time goes on, you learn more about what he believes in, what he ultimately stands for, and what kind of hero he is. I love the Mandalorian as a character because he feels unpredictable. I think throughout the show, his actions just continue to surprise me. First and foremost, when he decides to betray the bounty hunter code and save Baby Yoda from whatever awaited him. There are other times where the Mandalorian finds himself in precarious situations and, he thinks of some creative way out of those situations. It also helps that he's, sort of mysterious, considering he won't take off his helmet in front of any living being. So we can never get a read on his facial expressions, thus limiting the audience from, getting a read on him. He's the perfect type of hero for this type of Star Wars story that's, set in an atmosphere that feels lawless. So of course, we couldn't possibly make it through this review without discussing Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, the newest internet phenomenon, is awesome. I mean, he's cute, he's extremely likable, he's actually very useful in a lot of different situations. And I think he's partially so well liked because he is in fact cute, but also because he's so innocent. There's nothing about him that's ever nefarious besides one scene where he's actually protecting Mando. Other than that, he's almost viewed in the same way that, we view a puppy, inherently good. I mean, I think Baby Yoda is also really important to the story because he actually serves as a catalyst for change in Mando. He also is, kind of what's driving this whole story ultimately. But his presence allows us to travel to new worlds, meet new characters, and of course learn about the morality of our protagonists. I'm really excited to see what's to come from Baby Yoda in the coming seasons of the show because I think there's a lot of different directions they could go with that character. I also thought there were several other cool characters introduced in this first season. I mean, Cara Dune was really cool, IG-11 was great, Greef Karga played by Carl Weathers was cool, and of course the Mandalorians we see, they were great too. Each of the supporting characters adds something compelling to the overall story, and to the atmosphere for that matter. This is a true bounty hunter show, which is a side of, Star Wars that we haven't really gotten a real deep look into from the films. I think one of the reasons a lot of Star Wars fans are loving the show so much is because it is separate from the Skywalker saga and it gives us a look at aspects of the Star Wars universe that most of us haven't really experienced that deeply, that, haven't read the novels or comics, or anything like that. We know that bounty hunters exist, but The Mandalorian shows us that life as a bounty hunter is not that great and, what life is like outside of Death Stars and X-Wings. It also helps that the story is cohesive and engaging, but it definitely didn't hurt that it was also original and distinct. I think the last thing I want to touch on is the action. I think anytime you hear reviewers describe a gritty action show, you're going to hear the term boots on the ground. Boots on the ground is referring to soldiers that are in a physical war zone, which in this story, the Mandalorian isn't a soldier fighting a typical war per se, but he is a bounty hunter fighting his own personal war. This contrasts with Rogue One that did, have a more boots on the ground feel, but those characters are fighting a literal war. I like what The Mandalorian offers from an action standpoint because you still get the high octane action, but it feels more brutalized. I mean, more raw than a lot of the lightsaber fights and other battles in Star Wars do. I still love the lightsaber fights, don't get me wrong, those are also great, and I probably like those more than anything, but it's also nice to have Some fights like this that feel a little more grounded, a little more brutalized. And, it felt unique and original for Star Wars. The score is awesome too, by the way, and it really does help give the overall show that Western vibe and give the show an identity. So the score was always something that I really, really liked throughout the whole show. So that's something that's definitely worth mentioning too. Overall, though, The Mandalorian was really great. I think there were a few episodes here and there that I liked less than the others, probably 2, 4, and 6. But it's not like those episodes are bad. They were just slower and felt more like side missions than great stories that added a lot of value to the overall plot. Of course, there's some important things that happen in each of those episodes, but I didn't feel those 3 specifically added as much value to the story and entertainment value as the others. But that's really my only nitpick with the show. I mean, it's excellent, and season 1 was definitely a success for me. As for the pros cons, for the pros, I think The Mandalorian delivers a very compelling protagonist and supporting characters, great action and excitement, a unique Star Wars story with great atmosphere, and great visuals and music. As for the cons, I'd say just a few of the episodes are a bit lesser than the others. That's my only nitpick. So The Mandalorian gets a 9.5 out of 10 from me, and I highly recommend you check it out on Disney+, whether you like Star Wars or not. I think there's something there for a lot of different audiences, and I've heard a lot of people like the show that aren't exactly Star Wars fans, so give it a shot. So did you guys see The Mandalorian yet? What did you think of it? And if not, let me know why not. Also, let me know your favorite piece of Star Wars content. Is it a film, a comic, a show? Let me know in the comments section. Either way, this is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.